Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of CJ Socials Touchline Talks. Charles, it's been a long time, man. How have you been?
I've, I've been good. I've been good. Busy, but I've been
Good to
good,
see you,
man.
man.
How have you been?
Yeah, you're looking calm. You're looking relaxed today. What's
I'm good.
good?
I'm chilling. I'm not working today, so
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
yeah,
Especially with Black Friday.
yeah.
The streets are crazy right now.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's trying to get that last minute deal.
yeah. Madness
Definitely.
everywhere is nuts. But,
Yeah. Well, obviously, perfect time to start. This is a recording that I think we're a bit more positive about, especially with the results of today.
yeah,
Obviously, we're here to talk about the games of the weekend, see where all the teams are so far this season, as well as what is each team going to do come Christmas and post
mm,
Christmas. So just to get started, obviously we had, as Manchester United fans, we had an exciting game today, a strong second half. Just walk us through how you feeling about the United win against Southampton, obviously in the Cavani goals. So what's your take on that?
yeah. So I mean, it kind of reminded me of the we kind of brought it back to the Fergie days. Scoring late in extra time. Um, I think I think we deserve the win. I definitely think we played better overall than Southampton did. Um, it was there were times at parts where I got frustrated. Like when you see someone doing some unnecessary fancy flick and then we lose possession. I think that actually happened in one of the build-ups to the goals, the
Yeah,
first Southampton goal actually. So stuff like that just annoys me. But like overall, like it was a good game. I think we deserved what we got, and and I mean that in terms of we deserve to win, but we also deserve to have the goals conceded that we gave up.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I don't really have any complaints. So obviously, always want to keep a clean sheet, but I think the one thing that I really, 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 really enjoyed about this game was that none of the goals that we scored were penalties. I will always take a if we win a game 1-0 and that game is a penalty, I'll take the penalty 3 points. But like it's nice when you score all your goals from like open play. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense because last weekend, yes, we won the game against West Brom with a penalty, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I did not leave the game feeling like we did anything to deserve that win, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember today we were with the Manchester United group and we were talking about the game, and I remember just before the first goal against Southampton, I said it. I said, for the first time in a long time, I actually see where the goal is going to come from. It
Mm,
felt like we were going to score a goal. Like
yeah.
we started off, I think, pretty positive. The corner kick we did not defend well, which has been the issue of Manchester United for quite some time. Is
Yeah.
defending set pieces, corners. We just struggle with defending those.
I
And then
will.
obviously, sorry,
No, sorry. Actually, go on. I don't want to interrupt you.
yeah, no, and yeah, and just the free kick as well. But other than that, we were actually, we dipped a bit in the first half. When they scored the first goal, I was like, you know what? I still felt positive because it was like the 20th minute in the game, and
Mm,
I saw there was a game plan. I did not see that against West Brom. I didn't see that. What was the game we played before Everton? I didn't see. I just didn't see that pattern of play. And
yeah.
then obviously when we conceded the second goal, the free kick, the doubt starts kicking in, right? Because knowing the Manchester United team,
Mm,
do they have the confidence? Do they have the mentality to turn this around? And they proved everybody wrong, and they did have that mentality. So I do get your point where we actually did see a gameplay. Obviously, there was the flicks, there was the mistakes here and there, but that's bound to
yeah.
happen in a game because Southampton, they were also very aggressive.
They were,
on our
yeah.
players. Like they were Rashford. They kept kicking Rashford, Bruno. So that was to be expected. But what were you gonna say about before?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say with the goal, like the first goal that they scored, I will say that like without obviously I'm not a like a football manager, so I'm not gonna get too picky
Yeah,
with things that I could point out and say they could have done this or that better. Um, and I think there were little things obviously, but they're unimportant. But like I will say with the first goal, I think that was largely like they knew what they were doing with that. It was hard to defend, I think. Like if
yeah,
you saw how many, I mean, you obviously did see, like all of the Southampton players were in like the 6 yard box pretty much, which means all of our players have to be in the 6 yard box essentially. And so that also I think made it really, really difficult for De Gea to do anything with that. So unless it was floated right into his hands or a defender gets a hold on it. And like the player that scored was being marked by Rashford. So
yeah.
like I think that was, you know, unavoidable. Not unavoidable, but like
Was
uh,
avoidable. Yeah,
yeah. There wasn't that much that could be done about that, I think.
yeah,
And also like James Ward-Prowse as well. He's a set piece specialist, so it's like you gotta realize that like any corner that you're giving away, any free kick, I would say 25 yards out or closer is going to be his territory, and he's damn good at them. So like that's got to be part of the game plan, like not giving away free kicks or set pieces in stupid areas. But
yeah.
yeah,
And that's where I was obviously not to knock down the individual performances, but that's where Harry Maguire, I think he should have done a better job in showing a bit of leadership,
yeah,
saying, yelling at the players because
mm-hmm.
when you look at the way that goal was scored, it was Tallis and Rashford that were in the main area in the box, trying to protect, trying to defend. And then I noticed there was a second free kick corner kick that we conceded, and it was the same thing. We almost got scored against again, and it was I know they showed Maguire and Lindelof marking nobody. They were just
Mm-hmm.
standing there. And I'm like, you're the two center backs. Like, yeah, just imagine. Not, I don't want to be that person taking it back to the glory days or trying to compare. But would you ever see a scenario like that whereby Ferdinand and Vidic are just quiet, just standing?
Yeah, no,
They
I
would be
wouldn't.
yelling at players, watch this player, watch that player. They would show more intent, more
Mm,
leadership in the back line because they're the king of those positions. They should be telling Bruno where to stand. They should be tell us where to stand. They should be telling Rashford where to stand. But I don't see that from Maguire. I don't
yeah,
see that from Lindelof in set pieces saying taking charge and saying this is where I need you guys to be to ensure that I can do my job as your main guy, as your main
yeah.
center. So that's really where. But enough of the negativity. How did you feel about Cavani? Everyone's saying that we finally have a number 9 at Manchester United. I got to say, those two goals, those are number 9 kind of goals whereby you just don't expect it. And he just, he delivered. So what did you think about his performance today?
You know what? I've been ever since Cavani came to United. I haven't really been convinced, and I don't know if it's just because like I don't know. I guess maybe it was like give him time to maybe warm up to things, like how it's different coming from England, from PSG where you're winning pretty much every season, to like coming
Yeah.
to this United team, right? So I've been kind of on the fence about him for a little while. Having said that, today I think he showed why we signed him, why we signed him. Um, they were very like two diving headers, like that's When was the last time you've really seen that? When was the last time you've really seen any player do a diving header or like score?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I feel like you don't see that very often. So
yeah.
um, I was very impressed with his performance today. 2 goals and an assist. Um, I can't really complain. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? That's really, and I've always said it. I don't want to be that person, you know, picking on players,
Mm,
but I think we finally have a little bit of a balance where we have Talos on the wing who can cross. And I think that is so crucial when you can have someone like Talos who can cross into the box, and then you have someone like Cavani, who, and I still feel Rashford is a number nine. He's just a different kind of number nine, and
yeah.
sometimes you need the combination of both.
Mm,
Martial, Rashford, those are number nines that like to drive into the box. So even if you have someone like a Tellers, a Beckham, it's you're not always going to get the best out of that play just because Martial is thinking I should be receiving the ball outside the box so I can drive in,
mm,
or Rashford is thinking, you know what, cut in and shoot, and Cavani kind of simplifies the game a bit and says, you know what, I'm going to be a main guy in the middle, just feed the ball in, and I will do my best to find it. And it just
yeah.
kind of reminded me of like Chicharito too, as well. Van Persie days of Chicharito, just in positioning and how the goal. You just didn't expect it, and he
Yeah.
was able to get on the end of that ball. So that was definitely fantastic. And first time we've seen sort of a team performance. Do you feel Van de Beek should be starting now? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I he's still young, right? Like I that's the thing is I always forget sometimes that these players, me at 23, he's 23, right?
Van de
I
Beek?
think he's
Yeah, I
23 or
think he's.
24 something like
Oh, is
that.
he up to 23?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
But
he looks
like,
pretty young.
yeah. But I think I don't think he should be starting every week. Um I think but like at the same time, if we don't have the balance and he's performing, I'm obviously not gonna complain.
Yeah,
Um I think he's a very good player. I think give him like, you know, a year or two and he becomes a regular starter. I also think that depends on like for example Pogba's future or because I think the midfield is now being built more around Bruno Fernandes than it is around Pogba,
yeah,
and I'm okay with that if he keeps performing. Like I'm totally fine with that if he keeps performing. I think it was something like I heard the other day, like uh 35 games it took him to get to 20 goals, which
yeah.
is
He's
it's
basically
up.
statistically
That's like
he's the best midfielder in the world. Well, actually, best player in the world statistically at this moment.
in terms of if numbers like that, yeah, like you can't really deny that. It's
Yeah,
for a midfielder, that's like numbers for a striker. You know,
yeah. That's
so
just Frank
I
Lampard all over again. That's
yeah,
Frank Lampard's numbers. When
yeah,
he was at Chelsea.
exactly.
So
So I think if they can find a good position, which he seems to be playing more like a bit more defensively now, I feel like if they can find a good position that he can get on the ball and do good things, then within like the Bruno Fernandes midfield, then he's going to do fine. I
yeah,
personally think Bruno Fernandes should be captain, and not because he's scoring so many goals or playing so well or whatever. It's just something that I've noticed about him in terms of like the way he just seems to want to win and
yeah,
doesn't really give a shit about anything else. I think when you could give him the armband and like amplify that voice more,
yeah,
then that's going to spread to other players. I don't think Harry Maguire is the one. I think on paper he looks good as a captain.
yeah,
It's centre back, world's most expensive centre back. He's not a bad player for all the shit that we give him or that he gets.
yeah,
Not a bad player, obviously. So I think he fits the bill on paper, but I think Man United need that like Bruno Fernandes type personality to be a captain. Really like
yeah.
when we're losing to really be like, come on, like, what are you guys doing? You know, like that type of thing. I think Maguire's a bit too soft, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and I think that was pretty spot on. I think I do agree with that. Bruno has definitely shown a lot of leadership qualities. It's like that Portuguese just never give up mentality. You know what I mean?
He's
Whereby,
playing with Ronaldo right now in the
yeah,
Portuguese
you know
level.
what? He's probably learned a lot from Ronaldo because when you think
Yeah,
about it, he's in the same camp when they go to Portugal, when they play for
yeah,
Portugal. So I'm sure he's definitely learning a lot. And he's somebody who he was Sporting Lisbon. So I'm
mm,
happy to see that he's taking that leadership responsibility and transferred it over to Manchester United. But
yeah.
yeah, you're right. Statistically speaking, Bruno is technically the best player in the world, just in terms of. Actually, I'll stick to midfield. I'll stick to midfield. I'll say the best player in the world. That's a bit of a stretch. That's a bit of a stretch, and it's one of those things whereby you know, you can't really talk about Bruno in any way right now because it's you're just a hater.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So you have
either a
to
hater or a bandwagoner. It's like you can't
you're a
win.
bandwagon, yeah.
Mm,
And not to put this too much on United, but kind of getting into the segue of obviously we're going to talk about the managers and who you think is going to survive Christmas and how each team is performing. Because right now, the way I see Manchester United is I see Bruno is performing, but is Manchester performing, right? Because Bruno, you have those numbers, but yes, we've had what 3 wins in the Premier League, so that's a good start. I will give it that. But when you're looking at the overall picture in the league, is United actually performing, right? Because we're still sitting pretty deep. Depending on how the results finish for the entire weekend,
yeah.
we could be back to 13th place, the second
Mm.
half of the table. So, do you feel that that's something that United slowly becoming a team, or do you feel we're still relying on individual performances to get through?
I think we're still relying on individual performances. I think a lot of the signings we've made are at the moment more just like, oh, sorry,
Ooh.
Arsenal just went 1-0 down.
Oh,
um,
against Wolves? Oh, geez.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, no, I think a lot of the players we've signed um, have been, they either have potential to be good in the future, or if we bought them to be good now, they're kind of just, papering over the cracks.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, we obviously didn't buy Edinson Cavani, because he's going to be, long term at the club or whatever. We bought him. I personally think he was bought because we hadn't really signed many people, with the exception of, I think, Van der Beek at the time.
Yeah.
And he was a name that was big enough to kind of say, okay, well, we've got this player in, so stop complaining, kind of. So, and when you buy players with that mentality, when you go into the transfer market with that mentality, it's, you're just going to end up spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the players that we've bought are just meant to like kind of paper over the cracks. And um, there's a few more pieces that are needed. Obviously, I still think we need a centre back. I would say we need I would say another striker, like a true number 9, because like I said, Cavani's still getting up there. He's not finished, but he's getting up there. He's not going to be
Yeah.
a long-term solution, right?
He's
Um,
not going to be your number 9 for every game, and he's going to take us to glory, back to our
exactly,
glory days. Yeah.
exactly. He might stay long enough to enjoy the glory, but you know,
Depends on how soon, right?
yeah, yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't think it's a team. I don't think it's fully a team just yet. I don't think it's as bad as I like make it sound, obviously, um, because I think there is a nucleus there, but not fully just yet.
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. So how, like, what's your take on the league right now? Because it feels like we've continued from post lockdown with a lot of inconsistencies across the league. Yesterday, Liverpool dropped points again. They
Mm.
were pretty unlucky with um, whose goal was it that day? Salah's goal in the first half that was disallowed, and then you had the penalty call. Actually, Mane's goal too was also disallowed as well. So
Yeah,
that's two goals disallowed, and then they conceded a penalty in the dying moments of the game. Obviously, we've seen City. City did the job, got the job done yesterday, which was expected.
yeah.
But we don't know what to expect anymore because the season is just up and down. So, how do you feel these results, Chelsea, Tottenham as well, dropping points? Like, how do you feel like this results are shaping up for the busy season that we have coming up in December? Like, what's just
Oh,
your take in general?
yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. If things keep going the way they're going, I think we're gonna have. I think we might have like a surprise winner this season. Um, I I don't think it will be Spurs, but I mean, at the same time, you can never count Mourinho out. Um, it's yeah, it's
Why do you
tough to
say
say.
that? Why do you say? I know people are saying Spurs seems to be the team that could win it this year, but
No, no, I don't think Spurs. You know what? They just don't, as a club, they don't have the mentality. So I'm not saying that they'll never win it. Obviously, I thought that about Liverpool. They won it last season. So I'm not saying they'll never win it. And I feel like if there was a season to do it, this would be their um their time.
yeah,
But I just don't see it. I don't see it.
wow,
You can never count Mourinho out though. So like
yeah.
that's
Do you feel it's one of those whereby because they've never won it before, and we don't want to see Tottenham? Well, depending on if you're, I think only Tottenham fans want to see Tottenham win the league,
mhm.
obviously, which is expected. No one is ever going to be, oh, I want to see your team win this. But there gets to be a point, kind of like Manchester United fans last season, whereby till the last day of the season, we were still, no, till it was mathematically impossible for any of the team to win the league other than Liverpool. We
Hmm.
still did not want to say that Liverpool has won this or admit that Liverpool was a good enough team to win it. Do you feel it's the same thing with Tottenham, where we're just kind of giving them, we're not giving them enough credit?
No, I mean, maybe for some people. For me, I don't doubt they have the quality to win it. I think in every area of the field, I'm trying to think before I say this. I would say that they have, maybe with the exception of defense, and I say that because I can't quite remember who their defenders are, but I would
Yeah,
say they have at least one world class player in with the exception of defense, they have a world class goalkeeper. They have world class midfielders. They have world class forwards. So I don't think it's a problem of whether you know they have the talent or the capacity to win the league. I
yeah,
just don't think they will. They
yeah,
if I think this would be their best year. They have a world class manager. Um, they have a lot of team. Liverpool are severely weakened right now, so hopefully it will get to a point like where they just can't recover. And from the view of a Tottenham fan, that would be obviously helpful for them. But
yeah,
I think for me, it's more just to do with the fact that like they're still Tottenham.
yeah.
They're the biggest. They're the biggest club that I wouldn't consider a big club, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
But
Just because,
you know what I'm trying to say though?
no, I
Like,
know what you mean, man. They're
yeah,
right because you got to think about it like for those of you, for those of us that have watched soccer for a long time, man, when you used to look at like the Newcastles, the Chelseas, so we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s, like Chelsea was that team that you were always serious about. They were a big club, like a
Yeah.
top tier club, but they didn't really win anything to make you scared until they got bought over and
Mhm.
Mourinho came in, and that just changed the whole culture around the club.
Yeah.
So I see where you're coming from, whereby there's been big teams, just not big enough, right?
Yeah.
Um, to say they're gonna win the league, kind of thing. So yeah, my only take with Tottenham is it's still so early, even though we're almost at Christmas. I just feel like it's still very early. I don't
Yeah.
think Tottenham has the squad depth to get through the whole season. Right now, they have players in form. When you look at the likes of your son, Kane, what's the other guy's name now? Um, what's his name?
Forward?
Sorry?
Is that forward?
Midfielder, the Dutch kid.
I know who you're talking about.
Oh, Jesus, forget his name now. But yeah, they're doing pretty well. So at this, even Bale is doing well when he comes off the bench.
Mm.
So it's one of those whereby if Son or Kane gets injured, can they keep this machine going? Whereby because right now they're winning like a championship team should be winning games. They're scrapping in last minute, getting the
Yeah.
one, getting the tie when they need to get the tie. So I think they're doing everything that they can do. The issue I have is what if Son or King gets injured, and that's what happens every season. One of those
Mm.
two gets injured, and the wheels just fall off.
Mm.
And the thing is, you would any team that Mourinho is coaching is you never want to get Mourinho on his negative side because
Yeah.
it's not good for the club, it's not good for the fans, it's just not good in general. So that's where I'm a little skeptical. But if they pull it off, I think Mourinho would arguably be the best coach in, in football history to be able to pull that
Oh,
off.
really? In football history, better than Fergie?
I'll say just because of the magnitude of what he's done, right? Is one like
Yeah.
Fergie did it with United, like he'll always be a legend. But you got to think about how Mourinho came to Chelsea, changed the culture. Now Chelsea is a winning team now. Now
Yeah.
when you're Chelsea, he went to Inter Milan, did it for Inter Milan. Porto, well, where he started, did it for
Mm.
Porto. He's done his bit everywhere he's gone, and then to give Tottenham their first top tier trophy in like I don't know how many years it's been. That's huge. I would say that's something that not too many coaches can say that they've done in their careers. So
Yeah. I mean, I guess him and I guess if we're talking about like putting him in that bracket, I would definitely say even now
yeah,
he's always going to be in the conversation when you're talking about best coaches of all time. You can't leave him out of that. That's just a
oh for
law of
sure,
football.
yeah,
But I think even if he won it with Tottenham, I don't think I could ever say he's the best ever. Partly because I'm a Man United fan, obviously. But like I think what Alex Ferguson did was just like he built Man United from where they were to
yeah,
where he left them in 2013. So and to stay at the top of the game for that long, I don't think will. I'll be surprised if I won't say never, but I'll be surprised if it is ever matched with that level of success. So
mm,
I think for me that's why I could never say anyone is better than Sir Alex Ferguson because he literally did it all
yeah,
and did it in a time when he did it across so many different like eras of football. It's like how do you how do you even compete with that in my opinion? But
no, and it's one of those whereby it's like it's a tough one, man. And
mm,
I see where you're coming from with that because Ferguson did and has done what has never been done again. Like I can't think of another coach that has built a team basically from scratch, because the players that we had post Fergie, I mean, pre Fergie days,
Mm.
I wasn't born then, so I can't really speak. I can't really speak too much on it. But it didn't seem like a team that was going places, right? And
Yeah,
then, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he's just built into that, $3 billion brand, and
yeah.
now it's, can we keep that level going? So I do see where you're coming from with the whole
Mm.
Ferguson debate with Mourinho, but I think Mourinho will definitely, because you got to think about how many hearts that he's won at that point. You got to think about Inter Milan fans still love him, especially when you watch that documentary where he really talks about leaving.
Yeah.
When he talks about leaving Inter Milan, like
Hmm.
how that happened, is he'll always be a legend in their eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you look at FC Porto, the same thing. Chelsea, even though his last season at Chelsea was not the greatest, but what he had done for Chelsea was just next to none.
Yeah.
Menu, I would say that was probably his
What he did
worst
for
patch.
football when he was at Chelsea the second
Yeah,
time around in that Chelsea Liverpool game. He saved football that day, in my opinion. Saved it for another 7 years.
that's true with the Gerrard slip. Yeah, that was. I think
Man,
Steven Gerrard probably got paid for that.
yeah. That
I
man
think,
earned his paycheck that day. Let me say
I
that.
know Mourinho definitely got him a drink, got him a pint. That's for
Yeah.
sure for doing that. And then even at Man U, we can say the way he left Manchester United was not the greatest, but
Mm.
he won us. I think it was 2 trophies that he
Yeah.
won, the
Yeah.
Europa Cup and I think the Carling Cup or
The Carabao Cup,
Carabao Cup.
whatever it's called now.
Yeah,
I think there was another one as well. Was I not? Or maybe that was just like some
he came
random.
second, which was basically an achievement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back then, it was an achievement. Well, nowadays, it's an achievement to finish top 3 in England. So
Oh
it is a
God,
massive achievement.
that's a
So
sad commentary.
I know it is though.
Oh my
But
Lord.
what's going on there?
Wolves 2-1 against Arsenal.
Is that Jimenez scoring there? Who scored the
He
goal?
scored the first goal, I think.
I've had this guy in my fantasy league for like how many weeks, and he's been dropping the bucket. And now that I take him off, he's
I
doing
think he
big.
scored the first goal. I missed it, like it was like out of the corner of my eye that I saw it, but Arsenal are just shambolic in defense.
Jesus, I think I took off all my Arsenal players for this
Good,
week. Yeah.
smart. Like,
You know what, man? You know the one player that I'm still, not to kind of go off topic here, but in my fantasy league, the one player that I still haven't decided to get was Bruno. Just I don't know why I've been hurting myself. Well, I have KDB, I have Diego Jota, and they've been doing well for me. So,
oh, fair.
but Bruno, the thing with Bruno was a bit expensive. I would have had to drop 2 players to get Bruno.
Okay, that's
And
fair.
the thing right now with Man U players, there's too much inconsistency. I don't know
Yeah.
what Bruno I'm gonna get. He's proved me wrong in the last couple of games, but I just don't know what I'm gonna get from any Man U player.
Mhm.
So that's why I've been so skeptical about getting Bruno. But
Yeah.
he's the most traded player right now
Yeah.
fantasy. So, but just
Speaking
kind of
of, sorry,
go ahead.
speaking of
No, go
Man
ahead.
U players, really quickly, I want to get your take on what's going on with Pogba. Because I know this is
Oh, geez.
a favorite topic of yours. So, like, what do
None, man.
you like? What regarding that whole situation? I know he came out recently and said that playing with the French national team was like a breath of fresh air or something like that. I was a bit surprised to hear him say it like that. Um, it's so, yeah. You know what? It doesn't even matter. But like, what do you think of is like what's going on in that situation?
Uh, I think the situation has just gone too far to the point now it's kind of hard to recover from this. And I
Yeah,
think it's both parties at fault here. With the comment thing, I don't believe the way the media twisted the comment.
yeah,
I think was wrong. And um, being close to the French camp, I totally understand that, because when you look at the French team, I was actually talking to Yves, my buddy, that we've done a show with,
Mm.
and the French team, France's national team right now, they're in a stage whereby they have one more trophy to win, and after
Yeah.
that, careers are going to really start fading in the dark, right?
Yeah.
And if you notice, Griezmann is struggling right now at Barcelona. Varane is struggling at Real Madrid. You have Pogba, who's struggling at Manchester United.
Mm.
Mbappe hasn't been on form to what we know he can be at. So
Good
when
point,
you kind of look,
actually.
Giroud's not even getting game time. Martial hasn't
Yeah.
scored a single goal this season. So there is so much that these players are going through. So for them, coming back to the one safe haven, that it's like Pogba is loved in France, Greasy's
Mm.
loved in France. All these players are loved when they go home. So from how Pogba is saying it, is not saying that it's a breath of fresh air of, oh my goodness, I can't wait to just go back to France because I hate what's going on in United. He's just
Yeah.
saying it's a breath of fresh air to come in and know that people on can relate to him, can understand. Like him and Greasy, they can talk about their issues, and they
Mm.
have a father figure in the Shams who is actually holding their hand and saying, you know what, guys, forget what's going on in your clubs right now. Let's stick together and let's just play out football. So I do understand it from that aspect. And it's just to the point whereby I think the relationship with Pogba is gone now to the point that it doesn't matter what Pogba does. I can even if Pogba was to score a hat trick tomorrow, we're gonna find a way to twist it and just say Pogba just needs to go, right?
Mm.
So that's my thing. I think with Pogba, we can debate him to our faces turn blue. I think people have kind of made the decision on him, and the way the team is functioning right now, it seems like there isn't a spot for him on the team anymore because
Mm.
Bruno's doing well. Van Beek has come in and he's doing well. Cavani's doing well. So it's going to be interesting. I personally feel that Pogba just needs to leave.
I
I
agree.
still feel that Pogba is good enough. This is a kid who hasn't, in the last season and a half, he hasn't really played. How many games has he played in the last season and a half? So last season he played what? Max 12 games. Before his injury and post injury, he's played 12 games, has 8 months out of injury, COVID, lost his father. So much is happening. You know what I mean? The team is changing so much. We have a coach who doesn't know what he's doing. So not to blame it on Ole, but there's just so much going on personally
Yeah.
and in the club. And the games that come in so fast, he
Yeah.
can't figure out his fitness levels. He's from the first game of the season when he came on, I could tell you that his fitness was just not there. You don't have to be a rocket science to know that this kid is
Mm.
not moving the way he usually moves. You know what I mean? So there's just so many factors now that it's going to be hard for him to pull through this. But that's what's going to make him. That's good if he can pull through this. That's what makes him world class, right?
Yeah.
If he can, because I think Ole still backs him. I think Ole is still supporting him. The team is still supporting him. Just from the way Bruno talks about him. Even today, Bruno said in his post match interview was, we have players that are injured that we know are still going to be a huge contribution to our performances. And I know you know who he's referring to because
Mm-hmm.
Bruno knows what's going on. These players know what's going on. So for me, just the kind of the whole thing with Pogba, I just feel like we just need to let the guy breathe, just for a minute. What's going on with him is beyond football. Let's just let him breathe, let him recover, let him, get back into fitness without the media attention, without the fans judging every step he takes, every word he says. Just
Mm.
leave him alone now. The team is doing well. Bruno's doing well. Well, just leave Pogba out of it. He will come in when it's time. You know what I mean? And I think if we can get in that mindset as fans, it would only be better for Pogba the player and United the club
Yeah.
if we do that. So that's my take on Pogba right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna come back to the comment about. Yeah, I'm going to come back to the comment about the manager not knowing what he's doing. Definitely going to come back to that one. With there was one thing that you said about like his fitness levels not being, peak. Like, first of all, I agree. Like everything that's happened to him, that will, good or bad, that still takes its toll on any player, right? So that's also a fair point. With the comment you made about fitness levels, and I'm more playing devil's advocate here. And I know it wasn't these. I know it hasn't necessarily been a normal season, like in regards to the way last season ended, and I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
between the ending of last season and the beginning of this season. But like, take for example, Eden Hazard. When every single time he seems to come back from Real Madrid preseason training, overweight or whatever, or like, that's maybe I'm comparing apples and oranges here, but like, he's not in shape. His fitness isn't there, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Do you think that Pogba has to take more of a responsibility for that, whatever the reason is? Because at the end of the day, you're still getting paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds a week to, essentially be in shape and make sure your fitness is peak.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that regardless of what's going on in his life, there is that he does kind of have to take ownership of that, or do you think it's like like these things happen, like maybe cut him a break since we have players that can pick up the slack and they should be able to do so, type thing? Like, what do you think on stuff like that, where it's like the players can control it and should? Like, how do you think that's like, is that more his fault or no?
I'll say it's a bit of both. I'll say at
Okay.
the end of the day, you can't just be everybody and not Pogba, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, even as somebody who supports Pogba, I'm able to know when it's just not going well for him, right? And that's why I try to plead to fans is calm down,
Yeah.
because you right now when you look at the fan base right now, it's Pogba is a villain and
Mm-hmm.
Neymar is the hero. And it's like, why do we have to separate both? Why can't it
Yeah.
just be? Why can't we just be a team? You know what I mean? Is why can't Pogba do this? Why hasn't Pogba done this? Why hasn't Pogba done that? The reality is Pogba has done it. When
Mm-hmm.
you kind of go back to his first season, the second season that we finished second place in the league, yeah, he's been off and on. He's been off and on. Don't get me wrong, but when Ole came in and he played more of an attacking role, he was our top assist and goal scorer. He
Mm-hmm.
was involved in Martial. He was doing this. So he's done it, just not long enough because he hasn't been given that opportunity to do it long enough and
Yeah.
consistently enough. That's one. And two, I always say this. The Manchester United that we have today is not the same Manchester United that we had this same time last season.
Mm.
And if you remember in December when there was announcement that McTominay might be fit, and we were all celebrating McTominay is fit. This is Manchester United because
Mm-hmm.
Pogba was injured, Martial was injured, everybody was injured. I remember when Rashford had his back thing.
Yeah.
So that's how Fred even got his opportunity to play.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So we're relying on Lingard and Pereira while Pogba and Matic have been sitting as holding midfielders. So yes, to your point, Pogba is to blame to an extent, his fitness levels and things like that. Maybe he should do better. Keep things, if he knows that, okay, my fitness level was not the greatest, keep things simple. Don't try
Mm-hmm.
to always take on two guys or hold the ball, whatever that may be. I think problem with Pogba is just do the simple things. Do it simple. And that's what he does for France. Like when you
Yeah.
watch him play with France, is he just does it very simple. And then he can just hit you with that ball that just changes the game like he did against Croatia. You know what I mean? So it's those little things that we see when he has the French jersey on. And then you can also related back to systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do. You know, I think everybody always has to defend, but when you're solely defending, it takes away from your game. You know what I mean? Like people can say, "Oh, KDB is doing this, but Pogba is not." First of all, KDB is being coached under Pep Guardiola, team that won 3 leagues back to back in a
Mm.
row, and Pep did not say, "Oh, we have David Silva, so let's play KDB to support Fernandinho." That's not what he did. He pushed KDB to the left. I mean, to the right, and play your game. And if you notice when KDB plays for City, he's playing a free role. He's not just standing there trying to defend the ball all the time. So people need to. You can't just be comparing apples to apples, or is not sorry players to players and saying it's apples to apples. It's not apples to apples because
Yeah.
every player has a reason why they're performing at a certain level. Look at Diego Jota right now for Liverpool.
Hmm.
He's just firing on all cylinders. He's a
Yeah.
good player, but come on, man. This guy's scoring in every game. There is a reason. You know what I mean? There is a reason. The system is put there, is designed for any player to do so well at
Yeah.
Liverpool, like how we used to have a menu under Ferguson. So I think it's a system thing. Pogba has really played 2.5 seasons at United.
Mm.
We need to stop this 4 years of nothing, blah blah blah. I think he's done the best that he can do with what he had,
Yeah.
right? So that's my take on the fitness level. But yeah, sorry to
Okay.
kind of take this whole section on Pogba, but it is you can't not have that conversation, right? Because
Mm.
it's a serious conversation to have because we don't know what's going to happen. Does he stay past January? We don't know. Does he stay
Yeah.
in summer? We don't know. But
I
if we
mean,
have a good player like him, we got to utilize him some way somehow.
yeah. I mean, I just on this topic, and then probably move on unless you have more to say, of course. I personally think that like at this point, and it's not because I'm a Pogba hater, because I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think he's a great player. I love Pogba as well. But I think it would be better for both parties. I think you said this as well. I think it would be better for both
Yeah.
parties if he just moved on.
Yeah.
Because the position that he plays, and I'm not talking about on the field, I think um just the role, the overall role that he has at Manchester United is that they wanted him to be the poster boy.
Yeah.
They, the kind of like the marquee signing, the the big trophy on the mantelpiece that you can
Yeah.
show off to everyone, right? And it just hasn't really worked out that way for him. And I think, in a sense, he needs to be that, but not necessarily at Manchester United because of the way things have worked out, because of the fact that we now have a player in Bruno Fernandes that can do his job seemingly as well as Pogba. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know because I also don't think Bruno Fernandes has been at the club long enough to say, um, oh, he is this or he is that. He's shown us a lot in quite a short period of time, you
Yeah.
know. So, but I do have the faith that Bruno Fernandes can play, can be that guy, and so I think if we have that, and if Pogba's just not enjoying himself for whatever reason, better for him to just, make his move to Real Madrid or Barcelona, or if they can afford him, or, whoever it is that
Yeah.
he goes to, and, just, call it a day.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, and he's not playing under a manager. It seems anyway that he's not playing under a manager that seems to know how to unlock his talents, I guess, like fully. And, I think that's been the story ever since he's been at Man United. Mourinho, I'm pretty sure, signed him to be a holding midfielder, like,
Yeah.
Man United's answer to N'Golo Kante or something like that. And that didn't work out because he's not that player. I personally don't know what Solskjaer is doing with him. So, it's
And it's sad, right? And I totally
Yeah.
agree with what you're saying. Is I think he just needs to leave for both parties, and that's why I still stand by. If he actually did have a good coach that was positive,
Mm,
Mourinho, we got him at his worst time ever. His guy had just come in from finishing 17th in the league with Chelsea. Yes, he
yeah.
won us the Europa League, and then that season we also had Pogba has support. Yeah, Rooney was not the same Rooney that we used to know, but
Mm,
Rooney was still a decent player. You had Ibrahimovic too as well, and then literally overnight within one season, and that's why Mourinho talks about finishing second was a miracle because
yeah.
season Ibra was gone. We're relying on a 19-year-old Rashford up front. Martial was in and out from injury. Mourinho did not believe he was good enough, so was
Mm,
benching him. Yes, we had Lukaku. So, but you have to understand the pivotal role that Pogba played in that season as well. And then the season after that, when Mourinho got fired, right? And
mm,
then Ole came in. We had that bounce. Pogba was playing up top. We had stuff. See, new season comes in. Pogba was the catalyst for us winning that Chelsea game. I don't know if you remember the first game of the season.
yeah.
Then we faced, I think we played somebody else, and then we faced Tottenham. That ball that he lobbed again to Rashford, another killer of a goal. And
Yeah.
then he gets
I remember
injured.
that.
So people, I think someone made a great point is like because it's been so long since we've seen Pogba in great form that it's hard to pick out a good moment because it's been so that's how long it's been when you think about it. You
Mm,
know what I mean? It's been since September of last season, September of last year that we've seen a good Pogba in a red shirt. So because of that, it distorts your memory.
yeah.
So that's where I feel like if you had a great coach, Pogba's role because I don't believe Pogba is a cam either. He's not a Bruno that's going to be a cam.
Mm,
He's somebody who he can play. He just needs to be he needs to play that free role, and then you now have to use somebody as a base to protect the CDM role because Pogba can still defend. He still defends for France. Like any player can still defend. It's just that's not his primary attribute, and that should not be his attributes. Like his primary attribute should not be him defending all the time. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? But when you're in a team like Manchester United, whereby we're barely seeing the ball, we're just defending, like how do you expect him to be happy before Bruno came in? Imagine going to the French squad. So imagine like you know, what I mean, like you go to your friends from France, you the French squad. These guys are all playing for the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, talking about Champions League, talking about playing on the greatest stage. But he looks around him and he's got Daniel James. You know, Fred was not even kicking at the time.
mm,
You had McTominay, you have Pereira. How do you expect a player like Pogba to be happy? Things are changing now, but the thing is, he's not getting that opportunity to change with what's happening at Manchester United. I'm
mm.
saying so, but at the end of the day, I can talk to my face is blue, like I've said. It's just like you said, he just needs to go. And I think
Yeah.
for his career, for the sake of Manchester United, I think for all parties involved, I think he just needs to go.
Yeah. I
So
mean, you did also bring up an interesting point, which I said we were going to come back to about like, Solskjaer not knowing what he's doing with, I mean, with regards to Pogba. I'm going to assume, because you've, said things to that effect in the past, I'm going to assume that you are not a fan of Solskjaer. Um, this season has been very inconsistent. Let's say had we lost to Southampton today, what do you think would be going on in in the minds of the hierarchy in terms of like, do we sack this guy and bring in whoever? I don't even know who's available right now outside of Pochettino, but do we sack this
yeah,
guy and start looking elsewhere? Um, like, what's your take on that then?
I'm not to be negative. I like Ole in the sense of I think he's done a good job in recruitment. I'll always say that he's done a great job in. I think someone actually this was explained well. Ole is a manager. He's not a coach, and right
Mm,
now we need a coach. It was nice to have a manager come in when he had his little like the transitional period whereby we need a manager to just calm things down, make players feel good, get them all working together, just get the camp happy.
Mm.
And I think we're at the point now where we actually now need a coach. We don't need somebody to be hugging players anymore. We need somebody to be ruthless and saying, "This is your positioning. This is how I want to play, and this is the
Mm.
way we should be playing." I don't see the coaching aspect right now with Manchester United. It's just a matter of go out there, express yourselves, and if Bruno has a world class performance, he has a world class performance.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I feel we are now. Manchester United is we always need a player to pull out a world class performance like Cavani did today.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's just like how long, and it's not fair too because we've set those standards now that if a player doesn't have a world class performance, that player is garbage.
Yeah.
Like we're just so fixated on a player versus the overall team performance.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're headed now. In terms of the board sacking Ole, I don't think so. Just because right now,
Like, you
like you
don't
said,
think they will, or you don't think they should?
sorry?
You don't think they will sack him, or you don't think they should
No, I
sack
don't think they will sack Ole. Just
him?
because right now, Ole's in Ole's in the best possible time that he can ever be in his career because he's coaching a team that he has no business coaching. He's gotten a player in Bruno. I'm being honest now, and what I
Yeah.
was his signing or not his signing. Then you have COVID.
Mm.
COVID hit, and it's so distorted everywhere across Europe. Results are just crazy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's that showed um, in Premier League history or in top tier English football. There's never been more away wins than home wins, and now we
Mm.
have way more away wins than home wins. So everything is just upside down right now. And
Yeah.
the way City's playing, the way Liverpool's playing, so everything seems to be coming around for Ole and working for Ole to protect his job. And right now, apart from
Hmm.
Poch, Allegri, I don't really want Allegri coming in just because
No, me
I don't want
neither.
a pragmatic coach who's just going to sit and try to play it safe. I'm tired of playing safe. I'm tired of, pack the bus. I just want to see some good system based football,
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I just want to see. So, but I don't think United is going to do that because it might cost them maybe more to let Ole go now than it would to bring in a new person because a new person could also mean new personnel. Is now all of a sudden now we now need to buy more new players because that person doesn't think Maguire is good enough, doesn't think Fred is good enough, and it just becomes that whole always changing squads for the coach.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a hard one. I think Ole is riding the wave perfectly.
Mm.
He's getting a 10 out of 10, man. He's surfing nicely. But other than that, I think we need a better coach. I feel Poch will be the guy just because I just want to see us playing again. I'm not asking for trophies. I'm
Yeah.
not. I just want to see us play again. I'm tired of seeing. We're the only club, not to go on a rant, but we're the only club that we question our players' positions. Should Pogba be attacking? Should he be defensive? Should Bruno be a number 6? Should he be a number 8? Should Rashford be in the middle? Should Rashford come from the wing? Like we're not the only we're the only team that just doesn't seem to know where our players fit.
Mm.
Because Bruno has 2 good games. Oh, fantastic! He's the perfect number 10. He has 3 stinkers in a row. We're questioning where he should be playing. I've never seen in watching soccer or football. I've never seen a situation whereby we're questioning every single player's position. I know when we're in the gameplay, that's the reason why our passes are always too long, passes are always too short. We're always one step behind the ball, 2 steps ahead of the ball, and that just shows you there is no unity, there is no system. It's like pickup soccer. When you
Mm.
go play co-ed and everyone is just, hey guys, let's just go out and have fun, and the two
Yeah.
guys in the team will just try to dribble the whole team and score a goal. And we hope for
Hmm.
that. And that's what Manchester United looks like right now. It's just rely on
Yeah.
Bruno to take the team and move on. So
Yeah.
I think we need a better coach.
And that kind of goes with what I was saying earlier when I was like, we've signed a lot of players to paper over the cracks. So it's like, we can sign these players and hope they have good individual performances. And if they do, great. But like that can only last for so long, right? I
Yeah.
think one of the problems with Man United, and I say this as the outsider looking in, obviously, I don't feel like they have a direction. I feel like they've been so inconsistent over the years since Alex Ferguson retired in pretty much every area that you can be inconsistent in, whether it's, managers that they've hired and fired. Like we don't know what our culture is at the club in that respect. We don't know the quality of the club because one season we can finish, second or third, and then the next season could be sixth or seventh. So it's not even like, for example, Arsenal when they were consistently finishing fourth, ever.
Yeah.
They were always fourth, so you
That was
knew
when
Arsenal.
Aston Wenger was there, right?
Yeah,
I think later
but
years. Yeah.
exactly. But at least you knew Arsenal are a fourth place club. No matter, like, come rain or shine, they are a fourth place club. And then if you have the right leaders in place, if you have the right hierarchy, you can then go on and say, how do we build on that? How
Yeah.
do we build from fourth place, always getting Champions League football and, losing to out in the round of 16, 10-2 on aggregate, to how do we now progress to second place or whatever it is? And like, we don't know. Or at least I'll say that I don't know how good Manchester United actually are. I just know that we have a lot of good players. So like, when you think about it like that, how do you even have any type of direction? It's easy to come out and say, yeah, we want to win the Champions League, we want to win the treble every season, and this and that. But that's not a realistic target
Yeah.
in a sense, because let's face it, right now, people don't talk about Man United like they talk about, you know, Real Madrid, maybe
Manchester City,
Manchester
Liverpool, the
City,
list goes
Liverpool.
on.
Like, we're not talked about that like that. We're not talked about like that. We're talked about as, I would say, with Solskjaer, we are talked about as like a solid third place club. And that's a good season for us. Like, I would even say we've almost swapped places with Tottenham, you know?
Yeah, well, almost.
So, we'll win the occasional FA Cup or something like that. I don't even know if Tottenham won that, to be fair, but we'll win the occasional tournament or something like that. But we just don't have
But we
that
haven't won,
final
but we haven't
beat.
won a tournament in a long time. Like when you think about it, like we're like
Yeah,
Tottenham, where we haven't actually won anything.
yeah, exactly.
So
And so it's like, how do you build on that? How do you identify where you are to then identify where you need to be? And I think I've always said that starts from the very, very top. I don't think we're getting rid of Ed Woodward or the Glazers anytime soon. So I'm gonna, rest my case with that one and say that, maybe I guess the next step is to change the manager.
yeah,
I I'm in favor of it because the person who I think would be the best for the job is available in Pochettino. I think like the philosophy that he showed at Tottenham and at Southampton, very similar to what we want at Man United. I think he has a similar personality to Solskjaer, with the
yeah.
exception that he's a better coach.
Hmm.
So I personally think that he would be good for the job. Having said that, I would be open to keeping Solskjaer just for the sake of like continuity and consistency if he can win something this season.
Yeah.
If he can win like an FA Cup this season, I'll 100% say keep him. Otherwise, at the end of the season, you get rid of him because like it's been what 3? Is it 3 years now since he took over?
Technically, yeah, he's done. He's done a full season and 2 half seasons. So I'll say 2 seasons. I'll give him 2 seasons because he did half the season.
When did Mourinho get sacked? It was
Like
2017, right?
like
Midway through
November, end of
2017.
November,
Yeah, and then
2017.
yeah,
Yeah, 2017. Yeah,
then yeah, 2.5 seasons, with last season being a Corona season, I guess. Um, yeah, no, I would say if he doesn't win anything this season, and I say I when I say anything, I mean like I don't care if he makes it to the finals of every single tournament and finish second in the league. Like I want
Yeah,
that trophy. Then you get rid of him.
yeah. And
Just sign
you
someone else.
know what's crazy? You know what's mad is so we have a how many games are in a season? Like 38 games.
Yeah, 38.
It's crazy to think that a club like Manchester United, we for every game, so all 38 games, can you hear me?
Yeah, I kind of.
Oh, okay. I think it was just the internet. What's crazy in all 38 games, and that's not even including Champions League or other cup games, that there is no game that I can feel comfortable that as a Manchester United fan, like be true to yourself, that you can watch that game, tune into the game, and feel comfortable that we're going to come out with a result.
Yeah,
That just sums it. A club like Manchester United, obviously, like going in Fergie days, like I hated going to Everton. Like there's certain games like Liverpool was another team that we just couldn't beat them. Now in today's day, Wolves is that team that I just hate going to Wolves. Like
yeah.
whether it's home or away, we just know we're just gonna draw this game. It's just gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is just barking at each other, but no one is actually biting. So
Yeah.
to think about it, for all 38 games, there's no game that I'm tuning in to watch United and I feel comfortable that we can win this game. And that says a lot about a team.
You
That
know,
says,
it's funny because I would say I'm more confident when Man United go and play Manchester City than I am when they go and play a team like Wolves or even a Southampton or an Everton or whoever it is against big teams for the most part. Which is why I don't understand how we're in the position that we are. We always seem to be fine against the big teams, with the exception of Arsenal, every once in a while, and then
yeah,
we do mediocre, we're inconsistent against anyone outside of the big six. And
yeah.
that just doesn't make sense to me.
Because it's
It
just,
really does.
I don't know now, like even this season, we're not really, like we've lost to Tottenham. We've
Mm-hmm.
lost to Arsenal. Who else did we lose to so far? Well, we haven't. Have we played Tottenham in the league?
Huh?
I mean, sorry, did
In the
we play?
league, Tottenham slapped us
Did we play
6-1.
Chelsea? Did we play Chelsea in the league yet? Yeah, we played Chelsea. Yeah, we drew Chelsea. So we haven't really even done well against the top teams this year that we used to rely on. Like the top teams was actually our bread and butter last
Yeah,
season, and now we
yeah,
don't even have that anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but
And
it's crazy. But just to obviously not to go too, uh, it's already an hour. Not to go too far. Just to kind of, who do you think, apart from all the coaches, Ole is going through some, I think his job is on a weekly basis. That's fine.
yeah,
It's on a win by win basis.
gonna be
Uh,
for a while. Yeah,
Arteta for Arsenal, obviously, Arsenal just dropped 3 points again today. Almost dropped three
almost.
points.
Yeah, they're losing right now.
Yeah. And then you see, I don't know if Pep would be in this category anymore because he just signed a new deal.
Yeah, I
So
don't think
it
so.
last longer than that. Um, I'll say actually, out of those three, Frank Lampard as well. Who do you think is going to be losing their job past Christmas? Because that's where we're really going to see who is up for the job or not.
Mm. Well, I don't think it'll be Frank Lampard. Um, I think Arteta is still too new for them to sack. But like I also think that could work against him in a sense, uh, in the sense that like because he's a new coach, they took a chance on him, it didn't pay off.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but
there
I don't
hasn't been
think
that
Arsenal.
much investment too when you think about money. Like
Yeah,
who has Arsenal brought in? I mean, like there hasn't been that much investment. when you think about like purchases, because
Yeah,
Arsenal hasn't really brought anybody apart from Partey.
yeah,
They brought Partey, and I think that's basically whoever. So it's easier. So I see where you're
mm,
coming from. Yeah,
yeah. Um, I mean, I would say the one out of those four most likely to lose their job would be Solskjaer. I think that if I'm being honest, I think the person who most deserves to lose their job out of those four is Pep. And I say that because with what he's been given, with the resources that he should be getting further than the Champions League quarterfinal. They did not sign Guardiola to get to the Champions League quarterfinals. What is
yeah,
it? 3 seasons in a row. They signed him to win the Champions League. So if you can't deliver that, you're not doing what they're paying you ridiculous money for. And on top of that, he gets to spend however many hundreds of millions every season. I
yeah.
don't think he's lived up to the expectation. I think the only reason why he gets a contract renewal is because he's Pep and what he's done in the past, which is fair enough. But then also, like, you know, who else do they bring in that is going to be at
To his
that
level.
is going to do as good as or a better job than him? I don't know the answer to that. So I think that's the only those are the only reasons why he still has a job. Um, I think he most deserves to lose his job.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's a hard one though, because I see where you're coming from, because sometimes a team just needs to be refreshed, right? And I feel like
yeah.
maybe philosophies are kind of getting stale. And with those players, I think they lost
Well,
their
at
solid
Manchester
wall.
City,
Sorry?
the players at Man City,
Yeah.
but like,
They've lost like three solid catalysts for that team. And what's his name? The defender,
company,
company.
yeah,
And they also lost what's his name? David Silva. I know Aguero has barely played in how long. So those are
yeah,
three players that have been very key to City's success. You know,
absolutely. But I think they had planned for that long in advance. You know, with signing Gabriel Jesus or Americ Laporte, or trying to bring in Phil Foden through the academy. Like, I think they planned for that for those players to leave, obviously, and I like I obviously know that it's not an overnight job, but at
yeah,
the same time, I still think they should be. I always feel bad for Guardiola when I criticize him because like he's clearly a victim of his own success. If his career had gone in reverse, it would be the perfect career. Like
yeah,
if he had been doing now what he's doing now at the start of his managerial career and then built up to winning 7 trophies in the season, it'd be perfect, right? But he's just a victim of his own success essentially.
yeah,
Um, but the thing is, once you have those resources in your hand, like he gets a blank check pretty much every season, and
yeah,
you're still they don't seem to be getting better. They seem to be getting worse, and that's what I don't understand.
yeah. And I, you know what? And I feel like a lot of times coach is complicated, and I think it might have to do with the way the media is
Mm,
positioned in today's day and age, especially
yeah,
with social media as a huge influencer. And I
yeah,
think these coaches, because you have to understand, these people are human beings as well, like we
hmm,
are. And I feel like a lot of times they subconsciously soak into that pressure.
yeah,
Like when you think about Man City, the moment that we talked about Man City's defense being weak, it felt like Pep started overthinking it and just
mm,
overthinking in his selection to make sure that he's creating a balance on his team, right? And
yeah,
focus on what he's being good at, which is possession play, tiki taka, quick, move the ball quick, be aggressive. And I feel
mm,
like they've gotten away from that press and aggressive kind of game that they used to have to more of trying to protect their back.
Yeah.
And it could also be the personnel of players. They just don't have the same quality like they used to be able to play that style of football. When you think about,
He's signing the
Chelsea.
players though.
Sorry?
But like, this is my point: is that he's signing the players, and he's not a new manager. He knows what he's looking for. He knows what he wants based on whatever
Yeah.
style of football he wants to play. So it would be different if you're going out there, like, let's say between him and Arteta, you know, if Arteta is going out there playing the same style of football as Guardiola, but he doesn't have the same checkbook, he's not going to sign the same players, right?
Yeah.
But Guardiola can go out and spend 50 million on a right back, whereas we signed Van der Beek for 40 million, and we're saying that should make him you don't sign a player for 40 million and sit him on the bench, like stuff like
Yeah.
that, where I'm just like, what is this guy saying? Someone's either overpaying for these players or he's signing the wrong players. Either way, it's bad business if they're not doing what they've been bought to do.
Yeah, but you know what?
So,
Too, just to kind of defend him a bit. I feel like when the Ake signing, I feel like that was just done because COVID happened. No team was willing to be that team that's just going to go out there and just spend money. Especially a lot of the players you're looking for are from the lower teams, and everybody's looking for a way to make an extra buck. And so I feel like City this summer they just figured, you know what? How about we just get a few of these players that could kind of do the job for now. They can hold us afloat because with that City team, you should still expect them to finish top three. So it was more of let's get a decent enough squad that we can try to go deep into Champions League because we know Barcelona is not the same. They're hurting like crazy right now.
Yeah.
Coleman might be getting fired soon. It's only a matter of time. Zidane, Real Madrid just dropped points again. So you're kind of looking, your only competition right now with Man City is probably the likes of Liverpool, Munich, which has always been. So I feel they're probably looking, you know what, it's one of these years whereby we're just going to play it safe. We're going to buy the people that you need to buy just to kind of keep the team afloat, finish top three, and let's see how far you can get into the Champions League. You know what I mean? And I feel like, too, football is in this weird transitional phase. I think the glory, what's the word? When you're trying to explain the best time, the golden generation of football was, I think, from 1996 to 2000, and I would say 2012. That was the golden generation. Like the football players that were playing the goals that, like you were talking about the diving header. Like when last have you seen a diving header? Like I know the game has changed a bit, but I just feel like those players were on a different level of playing. You know what I mean? And I feel now there's so much that has come into the game that a lot of these players are not that good. They're just not that good and not on that same level. So sometimes you can have the best signing, but that best signing might not really be the best player. You know what I mean? So I think it's just a combination of a lot of things, like that generation of the Xavis, the David Silvers, the Fabric. The list goes on. Players that were just world class. Those players are gone. Now I can't even call players world class anymore because I don't think anyone is really world class in today's day and age. We stamp names of all these players world class, but what is really world class though? Like I don't see you scoring those goals like they did, making those passes, the play. There's just so much that we got out of teams that we don't get anymore. So I think that's also a combination with the signings but yeah, I feel like Pep will stay just because it's a new contract. That would just be insane, man, to fire Pep right now. But I think Arteta and Ole are your two main guys to get fired.
I don't know. Arteta's one that could go either way. But like, I think with them, and this will be my last point on this. I think with Arsenal, if they fire Arteta, I would be thinking, if I was a manager, I would be thinking, why would I even bother taking that job then? Because it's clear that they don't have money to, or they do. I think Arsenal are a lot richer. It just goes into the pockets of the wrong people. And
Yeah.
so it's like, why would anyone take that job? What is their project? What are they trying to do? If why can they not keep hold of a manager for however long? Why do they have such like deep rooted problems? Like I wouldn't want to take that job if they fired Arteta, because then it's like now you're just becoming another club that just hires and fires people. Not
Yeah.
my reputation on the line for that, but
It's kind of like what you can say as a player coming to United, right? Is like, why if you had any ounce of talent, why would you come to United right now? So, but I think the Arteta one, I think it was an opportunity for him to start somewhere.
That's true, yeah.
I think that was kind of how he saw it, and I felt like he thought he could, just like how Ole thought that he could take United to the next level. I think everyone always believes in themselves. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone always feels that they can do something. Maybe he saw something in these players and felt, you know what, I think I could get the best out of them. I just need to tweak a few things, get a few of these players in. But we all know it never happens that way, right? It ends up being the man upstairs determines how the club is run, right? So whether you might have the greatest philosophy, if you're not given the freedom to implement that philosophy, then you're just basically just a tool that you're just using right now, right? For whatever the agenda is. And I think we need to get away. I don't know what has been going on in the last 2 years, but we're going crazy for legends of clubs becoming coaches way too soon. Like, we need to stop this nonsense. Like, it's just, we need to calm down, man. You can't have somebody who retired like how many seasons ago is already coaching the biggest club. Like, it doesn't make sense. Same in Italy. In Italy too.
Yeah,
you have your Gattusos and Inzaghi hasn't played in a long time. But
look at Pirlo.
You haven't done anything to be getting the AC Milan job, like the Roma job. What are you doing?
Look at Pirlo at Juventus. Like I honestly saw before he got that job, 2 days before that, he was managing their Juventus U23s. And then, they sacked Sarri, and all of a sudden I heard that he like called them up and was like, I want the first team job. And I can fully understand. I'd probably do the same thing if I were in his position. But I mean, I remember thinking that like this is too soon. Not only are you managing one of the biggest clubs in the world, you're managing one of the biggest, most powerful players in the history of the sport. And I'm sure he's a very good student, but it's a challenge that is like maybe a bit too soon to be taking on at this point in your career. Like that's a big one. So I agree. I 100% agree with that point as well.
What's mad though? It's like you kind of look at Rooney. There's Rooney, Derby County. That's who he's going to start coaching. That's the team he's going to start coaching. No disrespect to Derby County. That's okay. That's a level where they have different goals.
Yeah,
when your goal is to be at the top flight professionally, come on, man. You can't just be. It's like me. It's like you working at a company, and you did a great job for 5 years, and all of a sudden you're a CEO. Like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, but and I don't understand how that makes sense. Like, go and coach. There's other teams. You're a legend. Like in football, you're a legend. So any team that is not in the top tier will take you. Just for the name, just for the brand or whatever. You don't have to go like second division or first division. Even if you went for like a West Brom, like that's a start. That's a start. That's a whole nother. That's another skill level to be able to. That's when you need a manager in those kind of teams, because those teams is not even about quality. It's just about getting the best, squeezing the best out of it. It's not even getting the best. It's squeezing the best out of
Yeah.
those players. Just getting them in the right state of mind to play their game and get you and not get you fired. Just
Exactly.
stay afloat, just to not get sacked and not get relegated. That's
Yeah.
usually those, and then it gives you time to learn. You can't come to a team like Manchester United, a club like Manchester United. Like, think about it. Last season, I was your teammate. Next season, I'm your coach.
Yeah.
What?
Weird, man. Weird.
What?
It's a
Like, I know
weird
you scored
dynamic.
500 goals for the club, but come on, man. Like, that's coaching. Coaching is beyond scoring 500 goals. Like, the best coaches in football were not the best players in
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
So, like, look at Thierry Henry, one of the best players we've ever seen. He's struggling to be a coach because it
Yeah.
doesn't always relate to that. It doesn't always, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I think we've definitely gone way past our time here, but definitely a great conversation. Just one last question: who do you think is going to be top come January's 1st or 2nd? Top of the league.
Top of the league.
Right now, we have the way things stand. We do have Tottenham first, Liverpool tied on points. Then we have Chelsea, Leicester City, third and fourth. Then we have Southampton and Wolves. Well, I guess, is Wolves done yet? Actually, Wolves could go
Wolves.
back up.
Yeah, Wolves. There's still 20 minutes left in this game.
Okay,
I think
yeah,
it's a tough one because whoever's top at Christmas usually wins it.
yeah.
Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna say I don't know the fixtures for the Christmas period 100%. I'm gonna say I think probably Chelsea will be top afterwards,
Yeah.
but actually, yeah, I'm gonna say Chelsea or Manchester City. I think will be top.
Manchester City has the
Oh
easier
no,
lineup
yeah.
for Christmas. Yeah.
I'm gonna say them. I think they could go on a run. That Burnley victory could probably be just what they needed to go on an absolute tear and just start
Yeah.
scoring fun like typical Guardiola teams. But they also are in ninth. They have 6 points to make up, which means Liverpool and Tottenham have to drop 6 points.
Hmm.
And that's not always an easy ask, especially when teams are in form.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, I think realistically, Chelsea, but if everything falls into place, I also think Manchester City could be there too.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Who do you think?
I'm thinking, I want to say Tottenham.
Yeah.
Either Tottenham or I would go with City as well, just because City they have players coming back from injury,
Mm,
and they have some pretty easy games, so they can rest players here and there.
yeah.
Liverpool right now they don't
They're a
look solid at
shambles.
all. I feel like they're still going to drop more points,
Yeah.
because especially now that they have to win their next game in Champions League, they can't afford to lose another game in Champions League. If not,
Mm,
they'll risk not qualifying for the next round. So
yeah.
they're probably going to have to put a lot of mental energy into that game, their next game midweek. So it depends on how they do midweek will determine how they're going to perform on the weekend. So there is a lot going on right now with Liverpool. Plus, they have no backline.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
what's the
not,
team? I forgot the American football team right now that all three quarterbacks are injured. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Like, to have no quarterbacks. So that's
yeah.
kind of Liverpool right now. They're playing with literally no defenders
Yeah.
available. So, and yeah, so I would say Tottenham because I feel like they could just injury free. They could pull through. I think Chelsea Lampard is still immature. Like, he's still not immature.
He's still
He
young,
still
like
lacks a bit of
inexperienced.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a hard one with Frank to see if he can pull that off. But I'll say Tottenham or City.
Yeah. I think
Would
with
go.
me, why I say Chelsea is that, like, of all the teams that bought players this summer, I think they had the best transfer window. The players they bought not only are young, but are world class. A lot of them, with the exception of like Thiago Silva. I forget who else they
Actually
signed.
doing pretty well. He's been
Exactly, that's the
mentally,
thing.
he's been solid at the back. Like
Yeah,
Zuma has been having some good performances of late. Like
exactly.
because of that.
So I really do think that Chelsea could sneak in there. Like I said, I don't think they'll necessarily win the league, but realistically, they're my pick for who I think for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's definitely good. So that's it for today, guys. Oh, actually, one last thing I wanted to say. Obviously, sad news just broke of Bouba Diop from
Yeah.
Senegal. I know some of you might not even know him because he played. He played in like early 2000s in the Premier League, and he had that amazing World Cup for Senegal in '02, the one World Cup that I want to forget. That was the World Cup of the underdogs. But he had a great World Cup. It was Senegal's first World Cup ever. So he's definitely a legend for Senegal, and I think that whole team did a lot for the country. So I just wanted to obviously send out thoughts and prayers to his family. And they haven't really said what the cause of death is, but he had been dealing with some illness for a while. So, but 42 years old, man, that's relatively young.
Yeah.
42, like that's that's 10 years. That's almost 10 years older than me.
That's
That's
nuts.
scary to think about it. So, but
and sorry. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say quickly, like I also remember like him playing I want to say Fulham, I think he played for when he was in the Premier League. Yeah. I remember seeing I always liked him because like back then when I used to watch football when he played, I always like saying his name.
Yeah.
It like sounded funny, like Papa Diop. But yeah, when I heard that today, I was like, man, it's just 2020 is just taking people, dropping us like flies, man. Like
I know. But hopefully, a start of a new year.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's new insights, new direction in life. I think everybody is struggling, whether you're a company, a nation, an individual. Everyone needs to 2020 is a year of a new direction of life, I would say. I hope that that's what that means.
I agree.
Obviously, COVID doesn't know the difference between 2020 and 2021, but we can only be optimistic that it brings something good. So I know obviously we didn't also get the chance to obviously talk about Diego Maradona, one of the greats of the game.
Man.
His thing. So, it's been a tough one for sports, for just every aspect of life has been hit hard this year.
Yeah, man. I will say, regarding Maradona, as an England fan, as an English man, Maradona was one of the most polarizing players in the history of sport, I think. Not just in football, but like sport. Having said that, even I can't deny the impact that he had on me as as a young footballer. Even though I've pretty much cussed him out, over the years for the whole hand of God thing. Like he was a phenomenal player, and like I was genuinely sad and like I mean, so obviously it's always upsetting when when that happens to any person, whether they're a footballer or not. But that one hit different, just because like even with everything he did in football, the good, the bad, like what he did was like he created moments, like created memories. I'll never forget the hand of God just because of how it made me feel. And I wasn't even alive for it, when it happened.
But it still got you some way though, and that's the beauty of it, right?
Exactly. But like that's how I remember him now. As like he created memories. He created so many like feelings, like emotions regarding the sport, just because of the way he played. And I think he was also just one of those people that just cared about winning. Doesn't matter how, cared
Yeah.
about winning, and obviously lifestyle that came with that as well.
Yeah, that was away from football, he didn't live the best life, but we
Yeah,
can't be judging a man who's no more, right?
exactly.
Um, and I think what's his name? Is it Gary Linker, the
Gary
British
Lineker.
Lineker? Yeah, he
Yeah.
made a great point to the other day where he said, a lot of British people focus on the hand of God, but in
Mm-hmm.
that same game, he dribbled past, I think it was like 7 guys or something, and he explained it because he played in that World Cup, and he explained it like the way the pitch was back in the day. It's not like how it is now, whereby it's just smooth. It was
Mm-hmm.
very bumpy, and your leg could just cave in, like your feet could just cave in at any time when it was. So when you think about how he was able to weave past people, that many people from the halfway
Yeah.
line, almost halfway line, and get to the goal and still take the goalie,
Yeah.
take the goalie out and score. That is as great a performance that you can ever see. And he said,
Absolutely.
standing there that day in the England shirt, he almost started clapping. Well,
Yeah.
obviously it's World Cup. You're not in the
Honestly.
final, you can't be doing that. But
Yeah.
and it's great to see that from ex players who played and they could tell you that, like
Mm.
how the pitch was, then the environment, everything, and to still pull that.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
not too many players can do that.
it's incredible. Like I'm glad that you brought that goal up as well, because like not even just saying this, that is a goal that I vividly that has always stuck in my mind. Not even the hand of God, like the one where he dribbled through all the players, because
Yeah,
it was a phenomenal goal. That is one of the best goals that I've ever seen. Um, and scored by one of the best players that's ever graced the field. So I mean, I remember that one quite vividly as well, and it's incredible. And it's a shame that his lifestyle caught up to him, I think, but
yeah,
it's
it is
a
what it
reminder
is.
to us every day: life isn't guaranteed, and we should all take care of ourselves, man.
Yeah, it is true. Sometimes I think about that. Is we all? I know we always feel like machines and invincible, but two are no
Yeah,
longer invincible, right?
yeah,
So I think, and I think that's what COVID has also played a. It's been hard on everyone, but I think COVID has also played a huge part in humanity to
yeah,
say there comes a time whereby you need to take a breather. You need to
yeah.
calm down. We need to. It can't just be all about the money, all about go, go, go. The go getter. Sometimes even a go getter needs to just calm down, and
Mm-hmm.
just appreciate what's in front of you. Appreciate family. Appreciate life, and the good things that life really has to offer. I know it sounds cliche, but it is what it
True, man.
is.
Yeah,
So, anyways, so this is it, and yeah. So obviously, please continue to like, subscribe, and share our subscribe, and share our content, and also you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcast or music. Touchline Talks Soccer Podcast. So, till then, Charles, we'll be seeing you next Sunday, and hopefully we're as excited as we were today with another good weekend. Okay, all right, take care.
take care.